Party people, how you feeling?
We're going to try that again. Welcome back, everybody. So I think now things are right because, I was previously touching buttons and I broke everything. But now we're back to normal. Okay. So tonight is going to be like I said, it's going to be longer than the acceptance speeches at the Game Awards. Those weren't very long. So we're going to handle that. We are going to be talking about the Game Awards. We're going to be talking about a lot of the announcements. We're going to be talking about a couple of the big moments. We're certainly going to be talking about the Game of the Year. Anybody is welcome to comment on that in chat. And hi, everybody in chat. Good to see you. We're going to be covering a special category that most of the media overlooks, but we here in the PJ Party, we think it's important. We're going to be doing all of that. We are also going to be talking about the winner of Squid Game. Netflix's Squid Game was announced, and there's an issue. Maybe. There's maybe an issue. We'll get into that. The day before, that has released, sort of. Ouch. That's not great. And then we're also going to be talking about Lucia. We're going to be talking about her as the main character for the recently announced GTA 6, which we still have more than a year to go. Apparently that's not coming out anytime soon. So 2025, yippee! So we're going to be talking about all of those things in today's episode. And again, if you have not yet followed on the YouTube channel, if you're not watching this live, if you are potentially listening on the audio or watching the VOD, please do me a favor and drop a subscription on the YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. The channel has exploded recently with some of the content that we've been putting out there. This podcast among it, but also all of the tutorial videos and the shorts that I've been putting out on YouTube. A lot of people seem to be liking the new content, so thank you very much for your support. And like I said, if you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, you can find me anywhere else on social media, or you can catch me live on Twitch 3 nights a week where I will be streaming Star Citizen. Also, a couple of announcements regarding that is on Twitch, I'm going to be launching a whole bunch of new emotes. One of them is going to be static, like 7 of them are going to be animated. There's a whole bunch of new emotes that are going to be coming to the Twitch channel. And then as always, all of you are welcome to join us on Discord. There's a link in the description. So click that link. You can join the Discord, meet other gamers, other fun content creators, share your own ideas, share your own pictures and stories and whatever you'd like. It is not just a place for me to promote myself. It's a place for all of you to talk about whatever you want. So let's jump right into number 1. Tonight's topic is going to be Squid Game. The winner was announced. May Whelan was the winner of Netflix's Squid Game. That's cool. Except the game. Okay, so here's the way it worked. The finale was filmed in February of 2023. It is currently December of 2023, and the final episode of the season just aired. Mai was the winner and hasn't been paid yet. Now, this is interesting, sort of. The reason it's sort of interesting is A, cool winner, Netflix's season 1, lots of good times. But she hasn't been paid because somebody from Netflix apparently contacted some media people and was like, hey, look, there's a contract clause that says you don't get paid until the season finale airs. It only just aired. And she's telling the media, I haven't been paid. Now, is she really complaining? No. She's just sort of letting people know because people are certainly reaching out to her now. But no, technically she has not yet been paid. Netflix hasn't cut her a check. And her winnings is $4.65 million. It's not a small amount. It's a sizable amount. She hasn't received it yet. But Netflix has said the episode had to air. Now that it's aired, she can get paid. Now, the interesting thing will be how long does it take to pay her? That's kind of the issue. And a lot of you are not familiar with how, media typical like payouts and things like that work. Sometimes it's not prompt. Sometimes there's a 30-day or a 60-day or a 90-day. Like sometimes the money doesn't just fly into the bank account as fast as it should. So there's that. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes. But the cool thing was, like, there's some photos of her, with some of the other contestants, like the three people. They're all in tuxedos and stuff like that. That was 11 months ago ish, not 10 months ago, whatever. The cool thing is, like, she went to a sort of like a formal event, and she did admit, like, she sprung for like some Jimmy Choo shoes, and like she's doing her thing. Like she totally cleaned up, and she's like, wow, man, good for you. I think she wants to put it towards a retirement house. So she's going to move and get herself a nice house to retire in. Keep in mind, she is getting, again, the winnings were 4.65 million. So she's going to get approximately 2 million, maybe 2.25 million after all the taxes and everything are done. Most taxes for winnings don't get you what you're going to get, especially in the United States. The taxation is huge. So I think worst case scenario, she's going to end up with about $2 million. Still nice, good for her. Woohoo, that's going to be a win. But yeah, she's just waiting on the check because it hasn't shown up yet. Let's see, what did she did go out and get a professional haircut. She bought herself a Ralph Lauren dress and a pair of Jimmy Choo shoes. She did wear them to, where was it? Oh, it was the watch party. That's right. She went to the watch party for this, and she did splurge on all of that stuff despite having not been paid. But whatever. Still, congratulations to her. Basically, I think everybody has said, involved, that it was as hard as what you see on TV. Very, very mentally and physically challenging contest. And she earned the big prize. So GG's to her. But yeah, hasn't been paid yet. So we're waiting on that one. We will keep tabs. Hopefully she gets paid soon. Let's move on to Lucia and GTA 6. This has been an interesting thing because, oh God, the internet gaming bros, man, all the sensitive dudes who love to talk about being alpha males, and yet they are so easily offended and they have nothing to be offended about. So for her, okay, GTA 6 trailer drops, right? Trailer gets leaked and then trailer drops officially. And Lucia is shown as the main protagonist of the game, which is odd. Just, we can pause there for a second. The protagonist of a criminal game, typically the criminals are the antagonists in stories. They're fighting the protagonist, the good person. She's a criminal, and there does seem to be some sort of Bonnie and Clyde kind of a vibe to it. But I mean, technically, she is the protagonist. She is going to be the lead character. She is, fully playable as a character. But people are throwing all sorts of shade. People are getting grumpy that it's a woman. And people are saying, well, that's not how crime works. Bullshit. There's plenty of women running criminal enterprises. Is it the majority? No. But it's still a lot. So to say that that's not how crime works, or it's not realistic, wrong. Just flat out dumbass, ignorant, sexist wrong. Second of all, a lot of people are complaining and saying that she is the first, basically breaking tradition, because she's going to be the first time that you can play the lead female character. Also, stupidly, ignorantly, sexistly false. She is not the first lead GTA character. The first GTA, very first GTA, GTA 1, which is older than some people that are listening right now. GTA 1, you could select 4 female protagonist characters. You could pick them. Like, you were, now granted, none of these people spoke, but whatever. If as the lead character, you could pick 4 female avatars to work with. Just like you could pick male characters. Nothing unusual about this. It's not the only GTA with a female lead. It's not the only criminal game with a female lead. It's not the only RPG with a female lead. There's nothing. Oh, again, internet bros, you've got to just chill the fuck out. Just stop looking for reasons to pretend that your masculinity is threatened. Just relax, guys. You're going to be fine. Everything's okay. You can play a girl character and still be bro. Okay? Just take a deep breath. Everything's okay. I just don't understand it. No, I'm not. Hush. People in chat, wrap it up. No, it's not the end of my speech. Ha ha ha. I don't work for Jeff Knightley. Screw him. But anyways, so yeah. The other weird thing for me is, I'm not going to say names, but I went to high school with a girl who looks exactly like Lucia. When I saw her in the trailer, I was like, oh my God, like that's based off my friend. It's not. Minor differences, but no joke. I went to high school and I was very good friends with a girl who looked exactly like her. I literally thought this was her in the game. So I was like, dude, I get to be her as a main character. That's kind of cool. This is going to be fun. So yeah, fun times. But anyways, so I wanted to go through this. Blah, 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 blah. So the key difference between the protagonists you could pick in GTA 1 and Lucia, obviously, is that the characters in GTA 1 were basically interchangeable. You could swap between them, whatever. In this case, she's the one. She's the protagonist. It is cool that it's going to return to Vice City. GTA 6 is set in Vice City again. Another interesting thing is, for those of you who have been tracking the trailer and what's going on with it, most of the shots really kind of look like, headlines from a Florida man sort of news stories, right? It turns out they are. Like, they are fucking clones of footage that you see from real stuff. They're ripoffs, including Florida Joker. His mugshot is the basis for one of the scenes in the trailer. It's really, really cool. I love seeing this stuff. But anyways, let's go back to the main reason we're talking about it. She is going to have a defined personality, unlike GTA 1, where they were just basically avatars. They were silent also. Depending on how Rockstar is approaching it, her being a woman may also invite some commentary on gender roles and the like. We already talked about that, especially within the criminal underworld. No, there are women in charge of crime. Sorry, women commit crimes. I know, dudes. Girls do bad things? No, yeah, totally. It really happens, I swear. Story details remain sparse for the time being, but what is known is that Lucia is part of a bank robbing duo believed to be inspired by Bonnie and Clyde. That's where this, I think, falls off. I think if this is the way and it is the two of them, if it is the male and female, now granted, she is as far as we can tell, she is the lead. Okay. But I do think it's kind of a lame way out. It's sort of nodding to all the oversensitive males. Why does she need a partner? Why does Harley Quinn need Joker? That's what, it's kind of that vibe. It's like, yeah, she's a badass. Yeah, she's a criminal. Yeah, she's the lead character. Why does she need the guy? I think they would have been a little... I think they would have missed a story arc if they had made her lesbian. I think that if they tried to get two female leads, I'm not sure that... I think that would have pushed the envelope too far, both socially and then also in terms of immersion. I don't know. It just seems... I'm not quite sure why they needed the dude to be... Why do they need Bonnie and Clyde? Right? Why Clyde? I think we could have just handled her. She would have been cool just by herself. Doing, it would have been Mistress Ching from, Pirates of the Caribbean, who, by the way, also real pirate, totally based on a real female pirate who dominated the East Asian seas. Didn't need a man. In fact, she became the head of that pirate enterprise and empire when her husband died. Like, she was like, cool, I'm in charge now. And she fucking owned it. Like, she didn't need the dude. I'm not sure Lucia will either, but whatever. Okay. So all of this controversy, I think, is bullshit. I think that The trailer looks like they've put a lot of really, really clever thought into this game. I think the fact that they've got a female protagonist isn't woke. And by the way, if you guys keep using woke as some sort of a negative verb, fuck off. It's A, you're misusing the word. B, you don't understand what it actually means. And C, it's not a bad thing for people to realize that perhaps there's a chance, perhaps things were not fair in history. Maybe. There is the possibility that some people were treated unfairly in times before today. Run with that idea. So I think it's cool. I think the game looks amazing. Not sure I'm gonna shell out the 9. I bet you I'm upping my bet a little bit. We talked about this a little bit last week. We're gonna be talking about it. I've talked about it on streams as well on Twitch. I'm betting this is a minimum $80. I don't think this is gonna be 70. I think this is gonna be minimum $80. Premium edition is probably gonna roll out at 100. Would be my guess if they do some sort of like premium or tiered pricing system. Yeah, good point. Horizon Zero Dawn has a female lead. Absolutely true. It isn't because Harley is super dependent on Joker because she is mentally unstable, but so is Joker. Joker's also mentally unstable. I mean, they both had their problems. So whatever. So I think that, like I said, I think that this is going to be more expensive. $90. I mean, $90 is certainly it. We've heard from most of the major game studios, at least a good chunk of them. I don't know about most is fair. Maybe it's not a 50%, but we have heard from the heads of most gaming studios that games are underpriced. That is sort of the new trend coming out of the gaming studios, is that $60 games are inexpensive. They don't cover, they're not matching the value of the game. I think that's horseshit. Here's why. All of these games, except for Baldur's Gate 3, which we'll talk about it in a minute, all of these games have buyable DLCs and microtransactions. You're making buttloads of money. You are making stupid amounts of money off of your player base. Billions upon billions upon billions of dollars. Fortnite alone is a multi-billion-dollar game. And you're going to say that the $60 entry fee, the $60 here's your into the door, that's too cheap? No. And by the way, a lot of like these major studios that are charging $60, $70, $80 for games, they're not going broke. Don't misunderstand. These studios are not strapped for cash. Also, don't forget, these studios spend millions of dollars trying to win votes. I'm not going to say they're buying votes, trying to win votes at things like Game Awards. They spend millions of dollars in marketing, millions of dollars on really expensive parties, stupid amounts on everything from drugs to hookers to gambling to clothing to like IRL stuff. What studios spend money on is, look at Bobby. Look at Bobby Kotick. That guy, did he look like he was hurting for cash? Activision seemed to be fine. To say that the games need to be $70, $80, or $90 just to get in the door, and then you still have to go buy DLC shit if you basically pay to win systems, which exist in games. I'm just like, no, okay. But whatever. We're off topic. Sorry. GTA 6, female protagonist. She's going to be amazing, I think. So far, I don't see any reason Rockstar would drop the ball on this one. We all know that they're great with stories. You guys saw that I was playing RDR2 for a while. I still consider that the RDR2, not RDO. RDO. Wow, I ran all my letters together. RDO was great by itself, but the story in Red Dead 2 is one of the best I've ever seen in all of gaming. Rockstar knows what they're doing. Okay, I've got faith in that. Still another year away, but whatever. So if you see people that are whining about a lead female character or not representative of real life. It's going to ruin the immersion, or, people talking about the fact that she is the first female lead in a GTA. Not true. Lots of games, other GTAs have had lead female characters. Please just very politely, very maturely correct the facts, because we don't want this. We don't want the role and the importance of Lucia to be diminished because people don't understand actual facts. So just set some records straight, celebrate what we can, and let's move on from that. That's all I'm saying. We could do good. It's possible. Speaking of things that didn't do good, and we have to, just point out the failure. The day before, oh my God, is this a disaster? There was some optimism around this game. People were like, cool. Interesting storyline and, whatever. People were excited that it was coming out. Oh my God. What? This is like Redfall level. This is so bad. This has been a disaster and a half. Everything is wrong. All of it. The early access, I just like, how bad could this be? This is so terrible. Everything, discords, customer service, gameplay, misrepresentation, Steam reviews, like all of it bad. This was not ready for prime time. Let's go. You know what? Here, let's just do this. Okay. So the day before has already lost 75% of its peak Steam player base. It's considering adding Melee to the zombie survival game. It misrepresented itself as an MMO, and it's not. It's basically an extraction game. There is no real MMO. Oh yeah, did you guys hear about the flak jacket? The bulletproof vest? Oh God, I didn't hear about this at first. I caught a story about it later. There's an article in game. It's a bulletproof vest, and they call it the press armor. I think is what they called it. Let's see if we're gonna find it. Yeah, I think it was called press armor. For those unfamiliar with how the real world works, when journalists are in dangerous situations, they are given, typically by their media employers, they are given bulletproof vests, potentially, armored helmets, things like that, because journalists need to be alive to cover the story. They need to bring the story to the world. The facts are important. But second of all, they want the combatants to know this is not a combatant. This is not a soldier. This is somebody who works for the media. Do not target them. In the item description, in the game, they have this, what they called, like I said, press armor. I'm going to find it eventually. Press armor. Let's call it press armor. The description says no one really likes journalists anyways. In other words, kill journalists. It's fine. Probably not the best thing when we've got two major wars going on in the world right now where media is being targeted and killed. Oh my God, so stupid for the game devs. Let's see. One of the developers, Lulisoy, says, "What can I say? Early Access's release was quite challenging. We realize there is still a lot of things to work on and improve. The team is working on a patch that will fix dupes, critical crashes, problems with stash, missing items, and the low number of zombies. All other bugs are also being checked thoroughly by us and are still in the process of being fixed and developed. In return, I would like to say that we appreciate your feedback and constructive criticism. In the future, we have global plans to improve the game, so your opinion is very important to us." Okay. Now, the game launched. Absolute disaster. They were literally, after the launch, they were editing their Steam description to take out tags like MMO because what they had promised was not what was released. It wasn't the same game. It didn't match the description. The trailers were misleading. The tags were wrong. It was as if they had said, we're going to build this game, didn't build it, launched something else, and said, see, it's got the same title. It's the same thing. It's not. It's just not the same game. That's right. They deleted a lot of the videos off of their YouTube, including the official trailer was gone. This thing was just a disaster. All right. However, update to story, they released a 50 gigabyte patch. Every press person who had, the people that we don't like, every press person that has played it has basically said it didn't address anything. All the major problems of the game are still in the game. It is still partially playable. And if you do play it, it's still the same game we weren't promised. This isn't the day before us. What the hell? How bad is this? How just unprepared was this studio? Well, apparently pretty unprepared. So, let's see. Oh yeah. Okay. So, Fantastic has since released the first day, but it did. Having played the day before, both at launch and following the delivery of the first patch, this author has not observed any changes or improvements. All of the game's initial problems seemingly remain. Okay. So what the hell was the patch for? Like, what? What? You released a patch that does nothing. Let's talk about the Steam reviews. So I mentioned Steam reviews. This game is now one of the bottom 10 reviewed games ever on Steam. Okay. It is currently ranked 75,685 at a 75,694. That makes it the 9th worst reviewed game on Steam. There are 10,000, as of the time that this article was written, there are 10,000 Steam user reviews. 8,532 of them are negative. Ouch. This is one of those things where the game dev is either going to pull the plug soon and say, okay, we're going to move on. This is not worth fixing, and we're sorry. By the way, before they closed their own Discord server, before they locked everybody out of it, they were encouraging players, if you don't like the game, go ask for a refund. Like, they're not even correcting people like, oh, no, you didn't do this, or there's a workaround, or they're just like, well, if you don't like it, go get a refund. That's stupid. But whatever. Hey, you lose whatever money you want. You still got to pay Steam. Like, you still got to pay everybody. You just give all the money back. So it's just a big fat ass loss for you. But they were actually in their own Discord. They were encouraging people to go ask for refunds. And then they locked out their own Discord server. They're like, we're closing it because they can't handle it. They can't handle that much overwhelming complaint. So they didn't. They just made it go bye-bye. Let's see. What else do we have? And then there was early access launched on Thursday. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. So prior to launch last Thursday, which as of the time of this recording was about 48 hours ago, it was the number 2 wish list item on Steam. So at the beginning of it, when I talked about the fact that it was hyped up, that's what I'm talking about. It was number 2 wish list item. That's huge. Game devs would kill for that. And they totally blew it. Total just waste. Waste of an opportunity. And they released garbage. That sucks. Let's move on to our big chat, shall we? The big chat for this episode is the Game Awards. Previously, I've never really cared about the Game Awards for a few reasons. The biggest of which is that it's a bunch of industry people voting on an industry winner. They do have the Player's Voice Award, which is cool. But for the most part, it's an inside job. Remember that thing earlier where I was talking about game devs who are marketing for votes for things like awards? Just going to leave it at that. That happens. So, not saying it happens here, just saying this is one of the reasons I've never really cared about Game Awards. However, with this year's crop of games, I thought it was interesting, and I was really trying to just pay attention to how the award show was going to be handled, which is interesting. Lots of cool announcements. I thought, you might remember from, I think it was 2 or 3 episodes ago, I thought the GTA 6 trailer was going to drop at the Game Awards. That was my thought. I was like, that would be the way to do it. You're going to get a totally captive audience. Everybody's waiting for the announcements anyway. You said it was going to be early December. Game Awards would count as early December. So, makes sense, right? They didn't. They launched it early. But also probably because it got leaked early too. So whatever. There's a whole conspiracy theory behind that. So anyways, so I was paying attention. And we did have some really cool announcements come out of the Game Awards. Couple of interesting moments. Basically, Baldur's Gate 3 ran away with everything. But not quite. So let's run through some of the big announcements. First of all, if you are a retro, if you love your old school games, like your old console games, like, Sega Genesis, like me, because I played Sega Genesis. I bought Sega Genesis when it came out. That's how old I am. Sega announced 5 titles that they're working on, including like Crazy Taxi, fun stuff, but it's like real retro vibes. But we're going to be getting some new Sega content. That's going to be amazing. Really looking forward to seeing how that rolls out. You're probably going to be seeing that, I would imagine, over the next 1 to 3 years, depending on the title. But that's going to be rolling out. That's one piece of cool news. One piece of ridiculous news. Skull and Bones has yet again announced a release date. This time it's February 16th. For those of you who have been in the community for a little while, you saw that I was supposed to be part of the initial closed beta. They screwed that up and I got excluded from the beta. Customer service was absolutely useless. Not really happy with Skull and Bones, but whatever. Still, pirate game. We talked about pirate games earlier. Are pirate-themed things sort of losing their punch? Are pirate-themed entertainment not really doing as well as it used to? Skull and Bones, I promise you right now, my opinion is solidified on this one. Skull and Bones is not going to make pirate-themed anything more interesting. Could it be a good game? Yes. It absolutely can be. Ubisoft could do a great job with it and come up with a cool game. But they did the announcement, and something really shocked me. In the gameplay trailer, which was dropped at Game Awards, they were playing the Wellerman song. Wellerman was the theme for that. That surprised the hell out of me. Here's why. Most of you know I started my content creation career a couple of years ago playing Sea of Thieves. I was a one-game content creator. Everything was Sea of Thieves, and I was really good at it. Kidding. But I was a Sea of Thieves guy. I still love the game Sea of Thieves. It is a lot of fun to play. And recently, especially in the last month or so, they've launched some really cool features, a new season, the new Safer Seas, where you can play with just your friends. You don't have to get worried with PvP shit. All of that. I think Sea of Thieves is still cool. But when Wellerman was redone by it's not Long John Silver's. What the hell's the name of that group? What is it? Guys, oh my God, Long Wellerman. Hold on, I have to Google this. Longest Johns. There we go. The Longest John. Jesus. The Longest Johns, not Long John Silver. The Longest Johns. When they did that song and it got this new life, I mean, they didn't invent it. It's an old school whaling song, but Wellerman, like, that was so connected to Sea of Thieves. The Sea of Thieves community, being the only pirate game at the time, the Sea of Thieves community totally embraced that song. It was on every parody. It was on every YouTube. Like, Wellerman was everywhere. The Longest Johns did great with that song, but it was so tied to Sea of Thieves. To see it in the official gameplay trailer for Skull and Bones, I was like, I mean, you're basically promoting your competition right now. You're basically reminding everybody that you're not Sea of Thieves. That was a trip. I was just surprised by that choice. It seems off. Be that as it may, the new release date is February 16th. Will it get postponed? Maybe. We can't even trust that these dates are going to be maintained anymore because they've been delayed so many times. That Singapore studio is it's a dumpster fire. This game has been so delayed, so repeatedly delayed, that I don't think anybody, A, believes the dates anymore, but B, I think people are very disenfranchised with what the game could even be. Just like, is this a game people want anymore? No. Could it impress people? Yes, but the bar is now set so low, or maybe so high, it could be the other way around. Maybe the bar is now set so high because people are saying, you've worked on it for so long, it better be amazing. Otherwise, what did we wait for? This is going to be the flip. This is the inverse to Star Citizen and Squadron 42. People have been ragging on Squadron 42 and Star Citizen forever. It's like, wow, you've been in development for a decade. What the hell are you doing? This game better be amazing. And then we see what Star Engine can do, and we see the Squadron 42 trailer for 26 minutes, whatever the hell it was. We see that, and we're like, oh yeah, you've been doing cool stuff for a decade. Holy crap! We have seen the fruits of thy labor. For Skull and Bones, you see the gameplay trailer and you're like, meh? Like, it's just kind of, meh. Yeah, sounds like CIG with dates. I know, right? So it very much is, I don't see it living up to the hype. Or I don't see it living up to the reason for the delays. All right. But we got a new gameplay trailer. We got a new date. That is the world of Skull and Bones. What else got announced? Let's see. For all of my DBD friends, for all my buddies that play Dead by Daylight, I think all of you know horror is not my thing. I'm just not entertained by the games. I'm not scared by them. I find the graphics are usually crappy, but whatever. Interesting thing for Dead by Daylight, there is the new spinoff that got announced, the casting of Frank Stone. DBD offshoot, not sequel or prequel, just like an offshoot of it. It's a new branch of the intellectual property. The casting of Frank Stone, nightmare scenarios, kind of a interesting look. Basically, one guy has terrorized the town, and now there's a mystery and whatever. But it is totally Dead by Daylight. So I know you're going to be looking forward to that one. Casting of Frank Stone is a DBD spinoff. Monster Hunter Wilds got announced. We saw some footage for that. Monster Hunter Wilds is going to be coming out soon, so that's pretty cool. And I loved the No Man's Sky, coming from the same studio. They announced a game called Light No Fire. Is there a thing I don't know about with this studio where they have to put the word no in every title? First we have No Man's Sky, now we have Light No Fire. Light No Fire looks cool. Probably not going to be something I stream or even buy. It looks very cartoony, like No Man's Sky, which I know this is going to be unpopular, and you can all, here come the unfollows. No Man's Sky is like one level above Astroneer to me. I know I have stupidly high realistic expectations when it comes to visuals in games, but No Man's Sky is just like one level above Astroneer, which is cool. Fun games. They're cool looking. I don't dislike the games, but probably not something I'm going to be doing, at least not right now. Just because I like more realistic games. I like games that are more immersive as opposed to cartoonish. But whatever. Light No Fire. It does have a cool trailer, and it does look like the way that they're building it, procedural generation, very, very vivid, beautiful coloring on all of the artwork, great MMO opportunities, looks pretty cool. Or multiplayer, I should say. I think the game as a whole looks like it's going to be a good game, and I am looking forward to it. Probably not something I stream, but it might be something I play. So maybe that could be an off-stream thing with all of you. We'll see. What else did we get? What were some other big announcements? There was a bunch of DLC announcements. Racking my brain here trying to go through all the things that came out of the Game Awards. There was a lot. Let's do this. Okay. So other things. Let's talk about some winners. First of all, Game of the Year, Baldur's Gate 3. Starfield didn't even get a nomination. I think that I still haven't decided if that's fair. I don't care. Honestly, I don't care who gets or does not get, these awards, because like I said, it's industry crap. But even for the problems that Starfield had, I think Starfield could have at least had a nomination for Game of the Year. It is new IP. It does represent some, cool advancements from the studio. Nomination, I think, would have been nice. Did it deserve Game of the Year? No, it did not. But it did some great things. I like the story. Like I said, I love the story. I think the storytelling was great. I think the acting was great. I think that there was some cool stuff from the talent behind it. The game itself didn't quite measure up to that 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. I mean, unless, of course, you look at the ratings from all the other media agencies, because holy shit, there was a lot of 9 and 10s out of 10s and no. So whatever. But I think a nomination, I'm in that camp of a nomination was earned. The win was not. So who did win was Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate 3. Not only did they win Game of the Year, they won Best RPG, Best Community Support, Best Multiplayer. They also won the Player's Voice Award. And the voice actor for Asterion, what the hell is his last name? Neil Newbon. He won for Best Performance, which I thought was pretty cool. And I think everybody here, I think we all know that Asterion was stupidly popular. Everybody loved that character. And he portrayed it so vividly well. So GG's. But I think that was earned. I talked about it on previous episodes. I've talked about it on stream. I think Baldur's Gate 3 deserved Game of the Year. I think the way that it tapped into what the community wanted from the game was perfect. I think they understood their audience. I think they delivered technologically. I think they delivered in terms of story. I think they delivered in terms of visuals. I think they nailed it. It was a complete package. No game is perfect, but Baldur's Gate was definitely a 10 out of 10. So that was cool. In my category, in my realm of the universe of content creation, there is a category for Content Creator of the Year that went to Iron Mouse. Certainly talented creator. That's a tough one for me, though. I don't know how I would pick a winner, because content creators, for the most part, do so many different things. It could be different games. It could be different types of entertainment. Like, they put out different types of shows, live streams, pre-recorded, IRL appearances. Like, to pick somebody to say that they made, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I see that as you made the best content of the year. And I don't know how I would pick that. And don't get me wrong. Like I said, I'm not claiming that Iron Mouse didn't deserve it. I am saying that I don't know how you put somebody, like, how do you put Iron Mouse over somebody else? Right? Like, I would have a lot of 10 out of 10s. I would have a lot of winners in that category. And that's not how the world works. I get that. But whatever. The other one I wanted to talk about in terms of recognition and awards was the innovation and accessibility. At the start of the episode, I was talking about the category that the media typically overlooks, and that is innovation in accessibility. I am a huge advocate for accessibility in gaming. I think that video games specifically have a very unique way of helping people with disabilities, bringing people together, creating inclusive communities. You guys all know my community. I am all about inclusivity. I don't care if you have a disability. I don't care if you're a different race, a different gender, a different pronoun. So much of this doesn't matter to me. Be you, and as long as you're a good person, you're welcome. But for video games, it does require certain things physically. But studios have done amazing things in recent years to make it more inclusive through accessibility efforts, whether it be the types of controllers you use, or on-screen prompting, or audio thing, like all of these different pieces of technology, they're all buildable. And you have advocates in these disabled communities that can help you understand these audiences. So there is a category at the Game Awards called Innovation and Accessibility. This year's winner was a bit of a surprise to me. I wasn't expecting this as the winner, but it came out to be Forza. Forza was the winner for innovation and accessibility. And I went through and I wrote down a whole bunch. Like, I was taking notes. I was like, okay, how did they win? What did they do? And I wrote all this stuff down. It was pretty impressive. There is, now this part I knew, the rest of it I did not know. Forza built in the blind driving assist. It is an integrated mode in the game where basically if you are low visibility or even completely blind, there are audio cues in the game that will help you play the game. You just turn the feature on and poof, people with, like I said, limited vision or blindness, you'll get audio cues so that you can still drive without seeing it. That's pretty cool. I like that. Good thing. If you're blind, the audio cues aren't going to bother you because that's how you play the game. Good job. Love that. However, they also have a thing called one-touch driving, which is basically you can play with different inputs. So different tactile inputs, like different controller inputs, you can play, and it allows for the same level of control without maybe your hands don't have the same dexterity that a typical controller would require. So you can play with different types of inputs, and that will still allow you to control your vehicle. Awesome. You can race entirely, but you may not have to use the exact same methods as a standard controller. Let's see. There's also screen narration. So again, more audio cue things for those with limited visibility. Color settings. You can change contrasts. You can do colorblind modes. There's all these different ways to allow somebody who may have, less than typical physical capabilities. They are now able to play this game. And I think the fact that Forza has put in so much time, effort, and money into bringing this reality to people who need it, it makes the gaming community for them better. Not just bigger. I could tell you it makes it bigger, of course, because now people who couldn't play can play. That's obvious. It's not just making the community bigger, it makes it better. That's the key. That's why I love accessibility in gaming. That's why I think that all of these different charities, and we've worked with some of them, these charities that bring people with physical disabilities the ability to play games that they previously couldn't, or previously could, but maybe they lost it as a result of their new physical capabilities. Now they get to go back and do those things that made them happy as a kid. There's a whole bunch of different reasons that people are or become physically disabled. And the gaming companies are able to overcome all that. I think that's pretty awesome. Couple of moments. Let's move on to moments in the Video Game Awards. The one that a lot of people are still talking about is the fact that the acceptance speeches were limited. I made that joke at the beginning of the episode. This episode will be longer than the acceptance speeches at the Game Awards. I'm sort of torn on this one. They were short. Yes, absolutely. They were super, super short. But this is a show. You can't just let people go on, especially like some people who spoke for 8 minutes last year. We'll talk about that. You can't allow it. I mean, it's not about that one person. There's an entire show to produce, and there's an audience that you need to keep engaged. 8-minute acceptance speeches are not the way to do that. You have to limit it. Was the 30 seconds stupid? Yeah. 30-second acceptance speech is a little brief, especially for these games that have, studios of thousands of people. Not that you're thanking all of them, but still, like, it's a huge team effort. And sometimes you have entire production teams that win things, and they're going to talk. It's just, that's the way it goes. So we got to keep that in mind. So that does kind of suck, but I do understand the impetus. Why did they do it? I get it. And I think everybody else does too. I think even the complainers understand that you have to limit the acceptance speeches. Maybe not this much. So we'll find a happy medium between 8 minutes and 30 seconds. Speaking of which, let's talk about Christopher Judge and his little speech. He decides to take a shot at Call of Duty. Christopher Judge is the voice for God of War. He does Kratos. He took a shot. He said, my acceptance speech was longer than the Call of Duty campaign. Not necessary. This is the award show. This isn't the bashing show. To be that level of unprofessional on top of the selfishness of last year's speech, like, you're showing who you are. And I think that sucks. It's nice that we know who you are. But there was no reason he had to take a shot at Call of Duty. It wasn't even like in good taste. Just to flat out go and say, Call of Duty campaign was stupidly short. This isn't the venue for it. You want to go show up on a podcast or something, go do it on a podcast. Go run your mouth. But this was a show about celebrating the industry, not attacking it. So that's bullshit. And I do think that it's very well deserved that a lot of the game devs for Call of Duty have called this guy out on social media. They're all calling this guy out. Everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people are pointing out just how bad taste this was. And hopefully he learns. Don't think he will, but that's what Christopher Judge decided to do, was take up his part of his 30-second acceptance speech time to attack another game studio. Not necessary. Other than that, I think the show went pretty well. I think it was pretty cool again to see so many A-list like Hollywood celebrities showing how they're getting involved with games. You had Matthew McConaughey there, you had Timothée Chalamet there. A lot of them are involved, and not just from like a voiceover perspective, but some of them are producers, some of them are involved in game direction. It's really cool to see how the worlds are crossing over and video games are becoming less of a stigma, less of a second-rate thing, which is, it surprised me a little bit because the SAG-AFTRA strikes, they have separate contracts. They have gaming contracts and then they have movie and TV contracts. And the movie and TV stuff got all the attention. The movie and TV stuff got settled. The gaming negotiations are still ongoing. SAG-AFTRA had a whole thing at the show. Like they had a campaign running on social media, trying to encourage the studios to come to the table and really meet them where they want to be met on their demands. But that covers, voiceover actors, that covers mocap actors and things like that. So I thought it was cool that we're seeing actors crossing over, and especially when you have actors who we know that these major A-listers also play video games in their off time. Like Post Malone was really excited for games coming out. We know Henry Cavill's a huge Warhammer 40K fan. Like all of these, Matthew McConaughey, like I said, he's working on this game project called Exodus, which is kind of Interstellar-ish, which is interesting. But we're seeing these crossovers, and I think that that's going to be good both for film and TV, or movies and TV. It's not film anymore, but movies and TV, but also for gaming, in that you're going to start seeing more, hopefully, like unified presentations of intellectual property, kind of like what we saw with The Last of Us when it got a TV show on HBO. That was really well done. It was a video game being brought into a larger audience. And I think that was a really good example of how this crossover might happen. So I thought that was pretty cool. So anyways, that was a lot of Game of the Year awards we could run down, because there were some semi-surprising winners. But let's go through it. So like I said, Game of the Year was Baldur's Gate 3. The second place one. So like I said, Baldur's Gate 3 won a shit ton. But second place for number of awards taken home was Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2 kind of surprised me a little bit with how well it did. But best game direction was Alan Wake 2. Best adaptation was The Last of Us. Deserved. I just talked about that one. It was completely deserved. Best narrative, Alan Wake 2. Best art direction, Alan Wake 2. Best score and music, kind of a surprise to me. Not entirely. I don't think a surprise to a lot of others. But best score and music was Final Fantasy 16. The composer, by the way, is Masayoshi Soken. But yeah, Final Fantasy 16 won Best Score and Music. Other nominees were Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Hi-Fi Rush, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I thought Tears of the Kingdom had a really nice soundtrack. I was like I said, I was partially surprised, but I don't think anybody else would be. I know that Final Fantasy also has beautiful music. I don't think that was undeserved at all. Just kind of surprised me that it won. Best audio design, Hi-Fi Rush. Best performance, I talked about this one. This was Neil Newbon from Baldur's Gate 3. Other nominees in best performance: Ben Starr, Final Fantasy 16. Cameron Monaghan, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Idris Elba, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, which that one did surprise me because I didn't think that was out in time to get a nomination. That was a bit of a, oh, really? So Phantom Liberty, Idris Elba was nominated for Best Performance. Melanie Liebert for Alan Wake 2, and Yuri Lowenthal for Marvel Spider-Man 2. All great performances. Great job to all of them. Ultimately, Neil Newbon walked away with it as Asterion. Innovation and accessibility, we talked about it, was Forza Motorsport. Games for Impact. This was an interesting one. Nominees: A Space for the Unbound, Chance of Sinar, Goodbye Volcano High, Tekia, whatever, Terra Nil, and Venba. All of them interesting titles, very interesting games. Best ongoing game, Cyberpunk 2077. Best community support, Baldur's Gate 3. Best independent game, for those of you who love the indie titles, me included. I do love that Dave the Diver was nominated. It was really, it's still a very popular game. I love that it's there. But the ultimate winner was Sea of Stars. Best debut indie game, Cocoon. I didn't expect that. Cocoon won. Dredge, Pizza Tower, Venba, and Viewfinder. Viewfinder is a game I would love to play, actually. That's on my Steam wish list if anybody wants to get me a gift. Viewfinder is on my Steam wish list. It looks beautiful, all about virtual photography. Looks great, and I was very happy to see it nominated for Best Debut Indie Game, but Cocoon was the winner. Best Mobile Game, Honkai Star Rail. Honkai Star Rail, yes. Let's see, what else do we have? This is a thing I want to get into. I got to get into VR. But best VR or best VR or AR game nominees were Gran Turismo 7, Humanity, Horizon Call of the Mountain, Resident Evil Village VR mode, and Synapse. Resident Evil was the winner. Best action game, Armored Core 6. That's for my buddy AC3, who now goes by AC6. Congratulations. Armored Core 6 was voted best action game. Best action adventure game was Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Best RPG was Baldur's Gate. Best fighting game, Street Fighter 6. Street Fighter 6 beat out Mortal Kombat 1. Not sure that was deserved. If my buddy Rick was in here, Rick would probably be saying yes. Best family game, Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Fair. I don't see any reason that wouldn't win. Best sim or strategy game was Pikmin 4. Best sports racing game, again, Forza Motorsport. Best multiplayer presented by Discord. Sure. Baldur's Gate 3. Why Discord had to promote that? I don't understand how they got that, but whatever. Most anticipated game was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Okay. Player's voice, Baldur's Gate 3. Content creator of the year was Ironmouse. I can now tell you. We didn't cover this earlier, but other nominees were People Make Games, Quackity, Spreen, and Cypher PK. Ironmouse is the winner. Best esports game was Valorant. Best esports athlete was Faker, League of Legends. Big LOL player. Best esports team was JD Gaming, again, League of Legends. Esports, nobody cares. Esports event, nobody cares. So, yeah. So overall, like I said, I think, again, I typically don't care about game awards or any award shows like this. But I think that there was some cool recognition that was done this year, and I applaud the show as a whole. GG's. I think it was overwhelmingly positive for the gaming community and for the gaming industry. So congrats to all of the winners. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in today. Again, you're going to be potentially hearing this on the audio. You're going to pick this up on Spotify, iTunes, iHeart, CastBox, all the places you get podcasts today. And then, of course, the VOD will live for eternity, or as long as YouTube allows it, on YouTube itself. You can always watch the playback. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Go have yourself a good morning, a good day, a good night, whatever it is for you. And I will see you next Friday. See ya.